Hello everyone, welcome. My name's Charlie, and today we're returning to Quinoa for our 6th month in Animal Crossing New Horizons. That's a whole half year. With winter approaching, I decided to set a handful of smaller goals to shoot for because there isn't really all that much going on, and I don't tend to like the winter that much. So, my goals are to finish the next big island build for Wolfgang's house, evict Al, collect every single recipe possible for making perfect snowmen, and get another one of my dreamies to move on to the island. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's get right into it. The trees were beginning to turn as I started my 6th month on Quinoa, and we were getting into the fall, which is my absolute favorite season. Now, right off the bat, I started to go around the island enjoying the fall colors and searching for the money rock, and let me just say, I did not expect to actually finish one of my goals on the first day. But as I ran down to the beach, I was greeted by a beautiful sight. Oh my god. No way. No way. It was like the Animal Crossing gods were blessing me for making it through half a year of playing this game. I mean, let's be real, it's very easy to get burnt out. As Al said his tearful goodbyes and begged, please don't forget about me, I was mostly thinking like, oh, I wish I could. More than anything, trust me. But just like that, Al would finally be leaving the island. Like, it's been so long. Too long, I dare say. I placed down this little puddle path on the exact site where Al broke the news, so I would never forget the exact location of my most joyous moment. I definitely need a good shrine there to remember it, but ugh, I was just chuffed. For a little gift to myself, I sold all the fossils I dug up that day and finished paying off this little staircase to the back of the museum, and it was just like the best first day that we ever could have had. Seeing Isabel go, we're saying farewell to Al, I was just like, good riddance. And saying our final goodbyes was so cathartic, it was incredible. I sure hope not. With Al finally far away, it was time to go on a villager hunt. However, life happened, and I was just kind of going through it around this time, so I ended up not actually getting to go on my villager hunt. I had tickets and everything, but I had hope, you know, like, hey, maybe it auto-filled and it's a good villager, I said to myself while anxiously plucking the many weeds that had grown. I mean, the bright side is look at how absolutely beautiful the island is. Like, the fall colors are absolutely popping off, and there's mushrooms just on the ground. Like, what is that? When I reached the house of our new villager and saw that it was neon pink, I must say, I was not feeling confident. After taking a deep breath, I stepped into the house, and what on earth is that? Like, no, I refuse. I just saw flamingos for the first time last week, and they literally smell wretched. Like, you're 5,000% dragging down the star rating on this island, and I will not tolerate it. After that discovery, I was feeling very upset, so I spent all of the next day collecting mushrooms and giving gifts to all my villagers. And so uncharacteristic of me, it had been 5 days, and I still hadn't had a good wardrobe change, but when I went to the Able sisters that day, I got this little exploration fit. I look kind of like a wild thornberry, but in the best way possible. Now that I was fitted up, I began preparing to do some more decorating, purchasing some little handheld lanterns and such from the Nook shopping, and also some more of the street lamps with banners. To my surprise, the next afternoon, Pippi actually wanted to move off the island as well. I don't know, maybe she just couldn't bear to exist on Quinoa without Al. It makes sense. They deserve each other. When I checked out the Nook shopping after forcibly evicting her, I actually saw this pine tree item, and it was literally the perfect item for the build I wanted to do for the month, so of course I had to go ahead and purchase it. The Nook shopping was being so good to me. Like, I tried customizing the items I'd bought the day before and realized I could customize the lantern to have a duck on it. Fantastic. I also customized all the lamps to the same black color with the hanging baskets, placing them down in the upper portion of my city area. As I went home for the night, Lucky actually came over to visit for the first time, and it was honestly lovely. I just had a little jam sesh while he tried to read. He seemed surprisingly unbothered though. It was a crisp fall morning on day 8. The leaves were falling, the colors were looking vibrant as ever, and Pee-Pee was leaving Quinoa. Blessed be. I couldn't do much until she'd actually left, so I took the time to gather up all the materials for my next build and drop them off next to Wolfgang's house. I had so many extra Nook miles, and I decided to use some of them to purchase a couple of the fence styles I hadn't gotten yet, as well as a bunch of new reactions. Like, look at this little hula one. This is so cute. Before I knew it, the day had come and I was not missing this one. I had more than 80 Nook Mile tickets and a single mission: to find Lolly, who I absolutely love because she looks like my cat Clifford in real life. It was my longest villager hunt yet, wherein I found almost every single popular dreamy. It was ridiculous. I will be posting a fun video of that villager hunt, so if you want to watch it, it'll be linked in the corner in the description, but after hours of tireless searching, I actually managed to find her, and I was just so unbelievably happy. And look at her, just walking around the town square. I'm in love. She even mentioned that she's an avid reader, and I would love nothing more than to be in a book club with Lolly and Poppy and Wolfgang or something. Just discuss literature. I love it. It was just a beautiful night. I was so happy, and we now had another one of my dreamies on the island, which means we only had a couple more to go. When I hopped onto Quinoa on day 10, I spotted Wisp hanging out on the island for the first time in a while, so I decided to hunt for his little ghost pieces while collecting fruit to sell for my mortgage. On a stop in Nook's Cranny to sell my goods, I saw that they were carrying Turkey Day items, and also a package of cozy Turkey Day DIY, which of course I had to buy. And I got so many cute items, like this hearth and a crock pot. I'm cooking me a stew. Definitely shouldn't have done that because it was 14,000 bells and I'm drowning in debt, but come on, it's a crock pot. You already know when I do the final decoration of my house, these items are gonna come in handy big time. By this point in real life, it was December 1st, and I was pleasantly surprised to see some adorable little snowflakes falling, the first snow of the year. Oh, it's so cute though. Oh my gosh. And to celebrate the beginning of winter, I played a little jingle on these maracas I bought. Oh my god, perfect. No way. A necessity. All the villagers were inside their houses staying all cozy and bundled up next to the fire, and when I went into Lucky's house, I saw that he had a little guest over. Oh, stop. Oh my god. Oh, this is more like it. This is more like it. After walking in to see Lucky hanging around Al last time, this was just the greatest thing my eyes could ever be graced with, and it just kept getting better. Oh, that dress is so cute. Oh my god. What a day to play Animal Crossing. What a day. Of course I had to get this little kiwi dress, the duck bill, and this like sheep hat thing, as well as the little Christmas tree dress. Like, the holidays were right around the corner. I really had no choice. Honestly, the next day felt like Christmas. I got this cute little letter from my mom with a duck sweater attached and a bunch of other little gifts, as well as a villager at the campsite. Please be somebody good. Please be somebody good. Please be somebody good. Definitely could have been better. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I went to London in real life around this time for a few weeks, met Shrek, visited Oxford, had a fantastic time, but this meant that I had essentially abandoned Quinoa for about a month, so I returned to an island covered in snow and some very unhappy villagers. Oh my god. It's winter? Oh, it's kinda cute though. It also marked a year exactly since I began Quinoa. To make up for simply disappearing for over a month, I spent a bunch of time walking around the island and just talking to my villagers, giving them gifts, and also cleaning up all the weeds that had grown. I also purchased this outfit in a very sad attempt to make up for the fact that I literally missed the entire Christmas event. I'm Pirate Santa. Arg. Shiver me timbers. Shiver, it's so cold. Arg. My timbers are shivering because of the weather, am I right? But in the wise words of Sia, every day is Christmas when you're here with me. The villagers being the you're, so technically I couldn't have missed it ever. It's just not possible. Now, one part of my island I really wanted to work on was the little creamery I had in mind for this area back here, but as of now, I didn't have the adequate supplies to build it, so I still had to keep hunting for more furniture items before getting started. And speaking of hunting for materials, I had also finally started to get back to work adding gyroids to the creepy gyroid room, because if you recall, you can actually put them up on the walls, so I had a lot of work to do if I wanted to fill this entire thing. And I do. Desperately. It needs to be more chaotic than this. It's just too soothing and normal. As you may know, each time you craft a perfect snowman, you're given a recipe from the Frozen set. There are 15 of them in total, and at this point, I'd only collected around 11, and as you may recall, another goal of mine was to finish getting all 15 before the end of the month. With my snowman built, I realized that I had a bunch of extra fossils on hand, so I decided to spend a bit of time putting together some more of my unique Charlie patented dinosaurs for my outdoor museum exhibit. After experimenting a bit, I threw together this work of art. For some reason, I really like this. I'm gonna name it Gabe. Gabe was moved up toward the top of the museum area, and soon after, I created this monstrosity as well, a bit lower down the path. I like to think of this as a very aggressive little fish. Also slapped this ginormous bird right out front, just because it looked menacing, and I kinda liked it. Once I was done with that, I sold the rest of the fossils I had left over and used the bells to purchase some of the seasonal items I needed for Wolfgang's build. And speaking of my build for Wolfgang, it was now time to start working on it, and my concept for his house was a bonsai garden. He had been mentioning bonsai trees non-stop since he moved on to Quinoa, so I thought it would be a really cute idea. I'm gonna be posting a more in-depth video on the process of making this build that you can check out, but I ended up with this lovely design where his house was sort of enclosed by these hedges, and there's lots of cool items scattered around like those pine trees I got a while back, and also a Zen garden design on the beach. I really like the Mount Fuji in the background and the grassy paths and honestly just the whole thing. I think it turned out really great, tied up together well, and it fits Wolfgang's vibe perfectly. Now day 16 was January 1st, New Year's Day, so of course I had to hop on and say Happy New Year to all my lovely villagers. And when I went to see Wolfgang, he said, "Happy New Year! Glad your smile was the first thing I saw this year." Oh. That was so cute. First of all, that is so freaking precious, I could cry. Second of all, I'd be concerned if that were true because it's nighttime, which would mean he'd have had to spend the entire day with his eyes closed, and also have been hammering away making this ornament tree completely blind, which is definitely not safe. KK was also doing a special New Year's performance in the square, and I mean, Lucky and Lolly were hanging out there. I just couldn't pass up on this performance, so we sat together and listened to this absolute banger from KK. Chills, the greatest artist of our generation. And after making yet another perfect snowman and getting the recipe for a frozen chair, I went to bed for the night. I was really invested in regaining the love of my villagers, even when Sherb stole this paper lamp that I had just ordered to add to Wolfgang's house. But I need this. Okay, fine. The reindeer sweater he gave me was kinda cute though. No, I actually hated it, so I made a beeline to the Able sisters and put together this adorable little detective outfit. The Sherlock vibes are impeccable. I just spent all my money on this outfit. You must be kidding me. That was $11,000? What? Well, at least I look good. Not the most financially sound purchase, but I just look so cute. For some reason, it felt like the next natural thing to do was get a cup of coffee from the roost. It had just been so long. And I actually bumped into Rossetti there, which was so exciting. I miss this guy. I miss the good old days when I'd quit my Wild World game incorrectly and then sit through 5 minutes of Rossetti yelling at me as I started to tear up because I have a deep psychological issue with pleasing others. Those were really the days. I forgot I was literally poor. I have $37 that I don't know if I've ever been in this position. Like, that's it. That's all I own. Yeah, it really put me in my own thoughts so much that I spent 200 of my precious bells on coffee without even thinking about it. Once I'd sold a bunch of fruit and fossils for more bells, I spent some time fixing up paths and placing more items at Wolfgang's, and then proceeded to waste even more money buying this Rossetti model. But I mean, I felt like I needed it just to commemorate our little coffee date the day before, you know? I also splurged on this little statue because I'm still on a fruitless quest to try and collect all the art. Going real slow, but one day we'll get there. And I mean, I got this piece of art as well, so we're really chugging now. I also hulaed next to Lolly for a bit as she sang me a nice little tune. The first thing I did the next morning was check the mail, and I just had so many letters from gifting all my villagers and such, it was like Christmas Part 2. Made me forget even more about how I missed Animal Crossing Christmas this year. Not on my mind, nope. When I went to Tom Nook's that afternoon, I happened to find the Viva Festivale reaction set in the cabinet, and I was very confused. I didn't know what this meant. Like, I'd been playing New Horizons since 2020, and I've never seen this Festivale event? How is that possible? Well, for one, I now have this fun little confetti throwing reaction, but it's also super exciting to have a completely new event to look forward to. I literally put it in my real-life calendar, and that's not a joke. On day 22, it was snowing again, and it just looked so cute. Everyone had their little hats on, and Wolfgang gave me this wood-burning stove. It was just so lovely. I happened to see that one of the hot items for that day was the bird bath, and I had a bunch of stone lying around, so I crafted up a bunch of them to sell, and shortly after paid 80,000 bells toward my debt. Upon talking to Lucky the next morning, he told me that he had dropped his shopping bag, but like it had a name and everything. It's very sentimental, it seemed. So I started to hunt around for it and saw that Bill had a thought bubble above his head, and I just ignored it. I was not having any of it. Like, you're trapped here forever. Now, I had actually started to work a bit more on the next build for the island, which would be Fauna's library, and I decided to gather up a bunch of items from my house to place down in front of the property for when I decided to start seriously decorating. I also stopped by to say hello to Lolly in the process, and she gave me a sea monkey aquarium, which we stared at together for a very long time. I just love how they float, they're so cute. At 4 AM the other day, I randomly stumbled across a video of this couple who had been raising the same batch of sea monkeys for like 2 years, and it just reminded me of when my grandma got me some as a kid, and I think they just died within like a week. I don't know what I did wrong there. While I was running down the path, I saw another thought bubble, and initially I thought it was just Bill being dumb, but it was actually Wolfgang saying he wanted to come up with a super secret greeting for when we saw each other. Now, I'd been working on an 100 Days in Dinkum video, which you should definitely go check out, by the way. But because of this, the word bonza was just fresh in my mind. I think it's like an Australian greeting. You just go bonza. So I decided on that for Wolfgang and I's secret greeting. I also purchased this astronaut helmet from the Able sisters for like 7,000 bells. I really honestly need to be stopped, but it looks so cute. I couldn't help myself. The next morning, I started to try and conceptualize how I wanted Fauna's library to work, so I began messing around with these lecture tables and little items like the illustration set and scrapbook to set on top. I also added one of these banker's lamps, and I'm not even joking when I tell you, it is one of my greatest goals in life to own one of these and have it in my home. Like, I just love the way they look, and they make me feel so calm. I don't know. Is that weird? Tell me if that's weird. Maybe don't. After spending the rest of the afternoon fixing up all the paths inside the library area, I ordered some more items from the Nook shopping center and finished up for the day. At this point, I was feeling a little disappointed because I really desperately wanted to get rid of the 2 bad villagers that were somehow still on my island. This yellow pea bear, Tammy, and Flora the flamingo, who... honestly, I forgot they were even here, but I'd love for them to go away. I've been putting it off for a pretty long time, and I spent probably 10 minutes opening up all this mail. I'm just too popular. It's exhausting. It was actually really cute though, because a lot of them were Valentine's Day gifts, like these chocolates, melted by fiery moves and cut by Bill's rock-hard abs. I feel violated. In fact, I am so popular that I got bouquets from nearly every villager in town, and I decided to lay them all out in my basement shrine. I thought they looked nice down here, and it's a good area to store them until I have a more fitting place for them to go. And happy belated Valentine's Day! I didn't have much to do at this point, but I just couldn't stop thinking about how in debt I was, and how little I'd contributed this month to my house loan, so I spent a bunch of time collecting every single piece of fruit and selling it to Timmy and Tommy. I also started doing this terraforming next to Poppy's house, and I forgot to record it, but I was really trying to get a head start on the build I had in mind for Poppy, and the area just felt way too flat, so I was starting to experiment a bit with ways to fix that. The next day was the day we had all been waiting for. Festivale! And when I stepped outside, there was literally confetti falling from the sky. I also stumbled across some of these feathers just floating around and realized you're supposed to catch them with your net. I wasn't sure what they were for, but I love nothing more than collecting things, so I got on it ASAP. All of the villagers were dressed up in Festivale attire, and I do love my astronaut outfit, but I felt a little left out, so I headed to the Able sisters to get dressed up too. My favorite color is blue, so of course I had to go with the blue outfit, and it looked so cute. I love it. When I spoke with Wolfgang, he asked to trade for the red feather I'd gotten, and I wanted to be a good friend, so I was like, okay. I didn't really know what they were for anyway, so it couldn't hurt, you know? I continued to run around collecting any floating feathers I came across, slowly migrating to the town square, and I ended up finding this dude. He is really just shaking that thing. I was a little afraid, I won't lie. I couldn't help but join in though, and it was actually so adorable because when I started dancing, Lucky did too. We are so cute. I love him. After avoiding it for a very long time, I greeted Pave and wow. This guy was very talented and spirited. Those are probably the best words I can think to describe him. Pave ended up giving me the recipe for a rainbow feather and told me that I needed to collect groups of 3 feathers for each color and bring them to him in order to get special Festivale items. And of course I want the exclusive event items. So, for the next 20 minutes, I ran around the island collecting as many feathers as possible and then returned to Pave to exchange them. Honestly, I'm convinced that Pave is just a reincarnation of Hestu from Breath of the Wild. Like, you give him the feathers he lost, and then he does a little dance, little confetti explosion thing, and then you get a present. frame for frame, the same thing. I was running around for a while though, and somehow I found a rainbow feather just floating around next to the library area, which was very exciting. After getting all 9 of the basic Festivale items, the balloon, confetti machine, drum, garland, flag, lamp, parasol, stage, and stall, Pave tasked me with gathering 3 rainbow feathers for him, which you could either find floating around or craft using one of each regular feather color. Somehow I managed to get lucky enough to just find 3 out and about on Quinoa, so I brought them to Pave right away and got the final Festivale item. The Festivale float. With all the event items collected, I placed down a couple more light posts around the town and finished up for the day. Finally, we had reached the last day of our 6th month, and I was so happy to start it by stumbling across Lolly, Wolfgang, and Poppy all hanging out in the plaza. It was just so wholesome. I didn't really have much that I wanted to do in our final day, but I did buy this race car bed, so that's really fun. A little papyrus moment. Overall, I'm pretty proud of what we accomplished in this month. Like, Wolfgang's little bonsai garden looks absolutely beautiful. Festivale was so fun, and we also got Lolly. She is such a perfect addition to Quinoa, and she clearly gets along with all the other villagers too, which is fantastic. We also managed to collect every single ice item by building a fleet of perfect snowmen. I missed one. How can this be possible? Oh, it's the frozen tree. That's actually fine, because I can just make a snowman real quick. Bada bing, bada boom. So close. Okay. Edit that out. No one cares about the frozen tree. Well, that is all I have for today, but thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you here. Things are starting to pick up on Quinoa. We only have a couple more villager slots to fill and a couple more builds to do before we can call it complete, and I'm so incredibly excited for that. I hope you are too. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye!